Hello and welcome to the Next ReeVlog. I'm here again once more in my dragon shirt, and by here I mean in my car on a video. So gotta fix my hair. Today is the last day of my Security Industry Authority training. Doing a get licensed course. They appear to be not the best training provider, but they do have the money-back guarantee and semi-regular courses alongside seemingly being relatively easy to pass, I imagine. Passed all of the practical exams yesterday. They've got some good technique bits. The people who are training were pretty honest about the fact that they wouldn't necessarily use them in an actual live scenario, but they are what needed to be shown for the exam to be passed, exhibiting a mindset similar to my own of the vast majority of qualifications are just tick boxes. They don't actually mean anything. However, today, I'm currently, now that we're moving, on my way to my written exams. By written exams, I mean my multiple choice tick box exams that will be done on my phone. I've been told that they get done on your phone. There's an app that you've got to log into. You get given by email a code and a sort of a login code and password. So I'll need to put those in there. Got to bring proof of ID, proof of address, etc. That's honestly likely to be the hardest part. Unless they throw in some questions I have no idea about. There are some parts that I'm fully expecting to drop marks on, like remembering which article in the Declaration of Human Rights is which. They're like, what is Article 6? And then it's four answer multiple choice. They will give you 4 answers. All of them will be articles in the Declaration. However, the issue being, I don't necessarily think I'm going to remember which one's number 6, which one's going to be number 4, which one's number 14, and so on. And then they might also do it the other way around, and they'll be like, the right to life is which article in the Declaration of Human Rights? Is it Article 2? Is it Article 4? Is it Article 12? Etc. So I fully expect that if they have those questions, because they may not, but if they do have those questions, I expect to drop a few marks. But you need 70% on the first 3 exams I'm doing today, and then you need 80% on the one after. All of the exams do have more questions than the mock exams that I've been taking, and the mock exams have been proven this week during the course to not necessarily show the correct answers. However, I have gone through the mock exams this morning, and I got either 100 or 95% on all 4, which means theoretically I should be set to pass. So I'm not particularly concerned. The vast majority of it is common sense. It's if you need to physically intervene, and by physically intervene or use physical intervention, what they mean is physically intervene. If you need to physically intervene, what are some risk factors? And they multiple choice questions. It's pretty obvious. Risk of harm to yourself and others. That's the one, because you are physically intervening. It's if you grab someone and they have brittle bone syndrome, I don't think that's an actual thing, but if they do, and you grab them too hard, kapow! Goodbye wrist. Yeah, and it's what amount of force can you use if you have to physically intervene? Reasonable. Which should be the case for everything, really. It's I don't know, how much money should you spend when you go shopping? A reasonable amount. Why? Because it's reasonable. But yeah, it's I'm not concerned about this in any way, shape or form, really. It's only if they throw in some curveballs that it could become a problem. And they might be things we haven't covered because the course is a bit naff. Who knows? Thankfully, I went for the infinite resets version because I figured it would be harder than it is. So even if I do fail, all I have to do is wait, and then when they next do the training course, I'll just need to come and do the exams. I won't have to do the full course. And if I pass, say, 2 of the exams, fail 2 of the exams, I'll only have to come and do the 2 exams that I failed. They really do make it very easy to pass this. That isn't saying that, because they are one of the largest providers for this sort of training in the country, that isn't saying that everyone who comes out of the training is naff, but it's saying that people who are naff can still come out of the training. On our course that I've been doing, a couple of my peers are in the British Army. Then we have another fellow who is a prison officer. We have someone else who was in a foreign army. We have a former national level cricketer. I think that's the term for someone who plays cricket. Then we have a couple of people who work for a charity but have done all sorts of random stuff, along with just some randoms. I'll count myself among the randoms, but the prison officer guy, he's done various forms of kung fu. I think he said Lao Ga was his main one. Yeah, it's all very interesting stuff. I think that it could have been a 1, maybe 2 day course. It could have been predominantly done virtually, like just give us the resources and we'll just do it at home. I think the practical day should be done in person, and that should be its own dedicated day, so it should effectively be a 2 day course. 1 day at home, 1 day on site, so to speak. However, it's not. It's a 6 day course, all on site. Why? Who knows? But yeah, that's just my thoughts. I'm not a trainer in the thing, so I don't know. I imagine that people would probably be somewhat unhappy to pay £500 near enough for a day at home on their laptop and 1 day's work on physical intervention skills and a test. So it's most likely to make more money, but that means they have to have an instructor there for 5 days, a second instructor on one of the days, and then an invigilator on another day. Doing the tests in person, I can see the reasoning for that. You know, they have an invigilator there, so no cheating. But given how easy it all is to pass for the most part anyway, like, what's the point? I think it's mostly an arse-covering exercise by the Security Industry Authority, as they do recordings of the practical assessments, in which you have to answer some questions. Those questions, the answers to which are most likely going to be required in the tests as well, like the written exams. But they keep those recordings as long as your license is still valid, and then you need to do a top-up course where they'll probably redo the recordings, and you'll have to, and then they'll keep those new ones. Well, they keep those recordings, so if you ever do something wrong and go to court, they can say, look, we gave them the training, this is on them, not us. Sneaky but beaky. But yeah, it's going to be a long day, not as long as the rest of the week, in theory, but I fully anticipate a couple people to take the vast majority, if not the entire amount of time allotted for the exams, which is just too much time. It doesn't need to be that long. It's every single question on all 4 exams is 4-option multiple choice. All of them. Meaning, if you spend 5 minutes on one question. That means you've spent a whole minute reading the answer, say 2 minutes reading a whole minute reading the question, 2 minutes reading the answers, and then another 2 minutes in order to decide which one's correct. That is ridiculous. Yes, some people read slower than others, and those people maybe will take 1 or 2 minutes per question. So on the longest exam, which I think is 72 questions, if they take a whole minute per every single question, it should be just over an hour. And I think we have just over 2. But whatever. Anyway, I'm not here. I am stopping at a shop in order to get breakfast, because whilst I do have food at home, I am out of routine this week. Getting back to it tomorrow, somewhat. Don't know if I'll get the 100 push-ups and stuff in this weekend, just because I've still got to do all my housework. But, whatever. Getting back to the routine tomorrow. But whilst I'm out of routine, I figured, tell you what, buy myself a meal deal for breakfast. See what's available. Also get my caffeine in a less healthy than usual way, but I'm not recording my caffeine intake this week, which I found really nice to not be like, Monday, I've had this much caffeine. Oh, I've had a cup of tea, put that on there. Tuesday, this much, so on. It's been nice to not have to log it. But I've given myself the week off. I'm going to get back to doing that Monday onwards, because I think it is good for me to do, but it is a real pain. Yeah, I think it's good for me to do so I can notice the bad days, but there don't appear to be any trends to what causes them, is the issue. So I don't know how helpful it actually will be in the long term, but it's worth doing for now anyway. I can always stop at some point in the future. Regardless though, I am going to go because I gotta grab my stuff and then get going again in order to get there early, because they said they're gonna get there early to let us in so I can grab my seat, because there's more people there today because they failed before. So I'll catch you cats on the flip-flop, and when I do, I will probably be authorised to work in the security industry. Goodbye.